Welcome to How She Did It. This is our second How She Did It that we've hosted this year. I'm excited about this series because I get to highlight and feature CEOs who are moving and shaking, but not only that, they're actually implementing their processes, their strategies, they're doing what they plan to do, and it's yielding results, which is extraordinarily exciting, especially in these times and economic times that we are facing. It's really good to see other people who are thriving despite the challenges, and to let others know and inspire and motivate other people when it comes to believing in their business model, believing in their business, believing in their ideas, and then believing in themselves to be able to follow through. And so my special guest today is Melody Stevens, who is the CEO of Design on a Dime Interiors out of Houston, Texas. And I am extraordinarily excited to talk with her after her journey from 1 million Black women in cohort 5, if my memory serves.
That's correct.
Goldman Sachs' small business program for women, and the process that she went through in that program and subsequently post graduation to now. And that was just, I want to say that was April timeframe.
I think July is when we graduated. June, July, yes.
Okay, all righty. And that, and so just a short window, how much you've been able to implement has been extraordinary. And so let's start with the beginning, and then we'll lead into the insights and the things that you have changed in your business and how that's yielded you to go to $1 million in gross revenue. And so, which I'm really excited about. So tell me a little bit about your history. You are from where, Melody?
I am from Zimbabwe, South Africa. And of course, coming in from Zimbabwe, South Africa, all Africans are expected to do something in the medical field. Well, that wasn't for me. I wanted to do something more. Well, I don't know what I wanted to do, to be honest with you. So I was a flight attendant. And while on layovers, I would rearrange the hotel rooms. And I'd send my dad pictures and I say, look, Dad, this is what I did to the room. And he said, why don't you go into interior design? My mother said, what do you mean? That will never become anything. There is nobody out there that will pay you money to do this. Eh? And so my dad was like, nope, do it. I went out there and I did it. And, when you're starting out as a business owner, I had a business card and I had a website. So I was a business owner. I did it. I shortly found out, no, it takes more than that, because on the website that we had, only myself and my 2 friends were the ones visiting it, because we never published it. We never did anything more. We just knew you needed a business card and you needed a website.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a learning process. Everything I don't have a business background. And I had a few entrepreneurs in the family, but really didn't understand what that even meant. I just knew they owned a business and they were their own boss, right? You don't realize the responsibility, the headache, the time, all that energy that's put into being an entrepreneur. So going on, I'm really good at what I do. And yes, I will brag because I really am phenomenal. But I didn't know how to make any of this make sense as far as monetary. I just knew you call me in there, man, I can create something for you and I can make it great. Biggest challenge was getting my money, because that was taboo. I don't want to talk to you about my money. I came in to do a service. Obviously, you have to pay me. And when you didn't, I would just shy away and not say anything, because I didn't know how to ask in a manner that wasn't rude or confrontational. So after 2 years of doing this, I met another friend who was doing networking, and she invited me to a networking group, and my mind was blown away. There were other people that were doing the same thing that I was doing. And within that networking group, I learned that we write reviews for each other. And I went home and I'm like, oh my gosh, The devil's a liar. Mom, this is what they do. They write reviews for each other. So all that stuff you're reading is not even true. But what I found out is that when you're writing these reviews, it did something with the algorithms, it did something with the website. So, okay, that's another venue. I understood that little part. In that group, there was a man that believed in me, and he said, hey, you need to go to coaching and I will be your coach. The only thing I want you to do is sing like a canary about the services that I have given you so that others can start coming for coaching. And I thought, okay, well, that's fine. The first session I went there, it was as basic as you need to do this to get this to go here. And I left thinking, well, what a joke. I already know how to do those things. Now this man wants to hold me accountable for doing what I already know. I'm not doing that. That's crazy. I'm not. But nope, he held my hand. I had to do it. So this is where I first learned how to write processes. But the processes that he told me to write were as simple as how do you open the office door to come in? How do you sit down and start the computer? How do you? But never told me why I was doing these things. He just said that was going to help me whenever I started hiring. So, okay, fine. I wrote them. Simple, but they effective. Then the next thing was you're growing. You need to hire on somebody else. And so I hired somebody. And I remember that interview was emotional. I liked the way she looked. She looked like a nice girl. And guess what? She had kids like I had kids. And I was like, well, you got a job. Let's do this. We sat in the office together and I was paying her to watch me do the work. Because I wrote those processes, but I didn't know what they were for. I didn't understand what you do with them, but I understood I needed to hire somebody. So there she was. So instead of me teaching her through these processes that I wrote, I just did it. Thank the Lord, she was smart enough to pick up on some of the stuff that I was teaching her. So we kind of had a groove and we kind of had a business going. And in that, the business coach taught me how to ask for my money. So since I couldn't verbally say it, he suggested that I put it in an invoice and send the invoice out. So, okay, step 2, I really am a business owner. All right. So I'm going along and things are working, but they're working just enough because I still don't know what I'm doing and I still don't understand. In the same coaching, he says to me, you need to get somebody to do marketing. Okay, where's that networking group? There's a person in there advertising, marketing. Girl, come on in, you're hired. I bring her on. Well, she does real pretties. So she takes all my pictures and she writes a nice little graphic and we put it on Facebook and oh, everybody sees it. We're doing so well. We are doing great in business. We're so good. Life is going on. People see my little pictures. They call me and we proceed. Next, he taught me how to stand in front and say what my business was and the person I was looking for at these networking groups. So I would stand up and I say, hi, my name is Mel Stevens. I'm the owner of Design on a Dime Interiors. We do everything interior, from the ceiling to the floor, paint, color, furniture, anything you need, we do it for you. The last question was, what are you looking for? What kind of person are you looking for? Oh, anybody that wants to change something in their house. And I'd sit my little pretty self down because I had done well. All right, life is going. The group is referring me to people as we're doing it, and I am running a business. All right, enter BIB. A friend of mine is the one that discovered it, and she called me and said, girl, they're giving to this day, I still can't believe the two idiots talked each other into this. They're giving $25,000 as a grant if you go through with this school. Well, we were broke. So I'm like, I'll apply. And we both applied for it. No, we didn't read it correctly. Girl, it was a $2,000 stipend.
Yeah.
I don't know where we got $2,500. But then I got into the program and I'm now on my way to New York. So remember my business history. I was doing well. Everything was working out. I get there and this room is full of beautiful women, empowering women, all color, all sizes, different hair, just powerful. I hadn't experienced that before, right? Because the networking groups that I go to, it's just me. I had never seen others that look like me in one place, let alone women. Not only that, culturally, we had taught each other through nonsense that we don't like each other. And anytime we see each other in the room, "Argh." And in this room, everybody's, hey, how are you? What do you do? Hey, so loving. I mean, I don't even know how to express that experience. So one of the things that they had us do during that orientation, they had us do a whole bunch of little exercises just to kind of introduce us to what the program was going to be. And I remember one of them, we had to sit down and we had to write. What were we writing, Cynthia? Was it our goals? I was so emotional, I don't remember.
I think it was your unique value proposition that you were writing.
Okay, so we were given 2 minutes, 3 minutes to write it. Honey, I took the piece of paper and the pen, I looked down, not a near thing came to mind. I looked to the left, there's girls at the desk, and I look to the right, and I look up, and man, if I didn't get overwhelmed by tears, because I was like, I don't belong here. These people are so much smarter. They know what they're doing. I'm just a mess. I'm crying in that room because I devalued myself right at that point. And because I had come in with this nonsensical confidence of being a business owner, reality hitting me that I didn't know anything was not humiliating, but maybe humbling, right? There was just that moment of, oh my gosh, this thing is real. And I'm in for a treat that I don't even know I understand the magnitude of it. Get it? And so I'm sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, man, this is the moment that somebody gives you the key to the $1 million secret. And if I miss it because I can't even write on this piece of paper, not only have I let my friend down, I've let my family down, I've let other people that look like me down because I should get this and go and share it. Man, I mean, it just broke me. Broke me. Oh, snot. All over the people, all the people's page. But everybody in that room, again, was so loving. They embraced you and they were just like, listen, we're in this thing together. And I remember you held me and you're like, I got you. And I thought, lady, you're shorter than me. You don't even know what you're saying. I got so many problems. It's not going to work. But it was just like, wow, this thing could be amazing. So that's how I got into the program. And that's where life started for me.
Love, love, love the story. So you started out thinking and believing that you had it all together. You did the right things because you came out of yourself, out of your circle, out of your space to go and seek information that could potentially help you improve or do it better. But you didn't know what you didn't know until you entered a room where there were a structured process or structured information, presentation, education that introduced the true mechanics to managing an enterprise versus hustling to make a dollar.
Hustling to make a dollar. That's exactly what I was doing. Yes.
Yeah, before the program, there were gaps in your business as it relates to understanding what does your financial reports truly tell you and reading them for comprehension versus allowing the accountant or the bookkeeper to do the work, turn it over, you look at it, and I'm done. Check that box, I can pay my taxes. That's one. But actually utilizing that financial data to make decisions, we'll get into that in a moment, was something that was missing that you didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
And a second piece to that was you really hadn't identified who your primary audience was. You were anyone who said yes is my customer type of approach, right?
What does that sentence even mean, Cynthia? Who is your primary person? Like, what do you mean? What does that mean? All I understood is that I created spaces. So if you needed me to create a space, you must be my person. I mean, how simple is that? What do you mean? And boy, yes, was that a loaded question that once I revealed it has been mind blowing. So when you're ready for me to tell you that part, because you know I can talk, you let me.
Okay, these things are having their own party back here. You need to come and design my office real quick. It's not an earthquake. Is that a sign, Lord? Okay, so so back to our discussion. So the other piece to this was recognizing and realizing that there were some areas in your operation that you could streamline also so that you would be able to utilize the resources that you had in
Mhm.
order to build capacity to do more. And there was a moment in the program that you were going through a really painful
Mm.
process and situation in the operation that opened your eyes to, if I don't fix this, this will break my business. I
Mhm.
won't make money. And that was a real serious situation for you.
Mhm. Mhm.
Talk about that revelation in the operation, and then we'll get into the things that you discovered and who taught you the new mechanics of managing an enterprise.
Okay. So the biggest thing was learning who my person was, right? And really knowing who my person was. So in breaking that person is I want to make a certain amount of money,
Mhm,
and not everybody is for me, and not everybody can afford me. So the clientele that I'm looking for, it started with their demographics. Big word, big word. What exactly does that mean? I didn't even know there were a whole bunch of little pieces to the word demographics.
yeah.
So I had to figure out school. How high do I want them to be educated? I
Mhm,
had to figure out finances. How much money do I want them to have? I had to figure out lifestyle. Will they value me as a designer, right? Can they afford it? So I had to figure out that the person that I want, they must have already a maid service, a gardener, because they enjoy somebody doing those services. They find value in it and they want to pay for it. I had to figure out they must want toys. They must own a boat. They must go to not golf clubs, golf courses, like memberships, because when they're already paying for that service, they're the clientele that I want to engage because, again, they don't mind paying for it,
mhm,
right?
yes.
Just because they don't mind paying for it doesn't mean they're going to pay each and every one of us. What am I going to offer to make myself, one, worthy, and two, valuable for them to say, hey, her schedule says you have to wait 7 months to get in there. Man, I will wait a year for this chick because she's that chick.
Mhm,
Right. So there had to be that whole self in looking at myself to try and figure out what do I offer that makes me different from all the other designers. And then the other part for me was if you buy a brand new house, you've spent your money on a brand new house. So when you go to buy furniture, you start chinsing, cutting back
yeah.
because you have a lot anymore to give. So you're not my client. And before I thought you were the ideal client because you bought a new house, you must need new furniture. Woohoo! No, you're not. My person is the one that has lived in that house for a very long time and they're ready for change, which means they have saved for change, which means they have shopped for change, which means they are ready to accept a professional to come in and take over because they have been overwhelmed with all of this change that is happening, right? Change is hard. So also realizing that, well, there you go again. Not everybody is my client because you've got to be in this little bubble to be able to, one, afford me, two, appreciate me. And I'll tell you why that was a big deal for me. Before I started on my own, I had worked for another company. And the client we had to be, according to me and my cheap self, a multi-billionaire, right? And he was doing a bedroom for she was going to be turning 16 years old. And it was a regular bedroom that we all have at home, a 10 by 12. So basically, you need a headboard, a mattress, nightstands, two lamps, and a little drapery and maybe a dresser. Right? If we all go shopping right now, I would spend maybe what, $5,000, $6,000 on that type of furniture. The man asked us to spend $70,000 on that bedroom alone. 70 on that
Yeah.
bedroom alone. And I remember the lady that I worked for, she was like, find the finest fabrics, find the this. And I mean, we were trying hard to spend this money because the wife, Prestige, I guess, wanted to tell other people that's how much money she spent on the little girl's bedroom. So when we were done doing the bedroom, She came in for the surprise, the reveal. She opened it and she said, "That's it." And she walked out. And her dad said, "Well, do it again." It broke me. One, because I felt as if I was cheating them by spending money that did not need to be spent. I was not being a good um, of the money that I was given, right? Uh, yes. And then two, the fact that I put so much work and effort and thought into spending money that should not have been spent for your child to come in and be so disrespectful and ungrateful for what you have given her. Ungrateful. Y'all don't judge. It's not a word. English is a second language. You know, um, it just, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it anymore. And I decided on that day, no, if I'm going to do it for you, I don't care if you work at McDonald's. You have worked hard for that money. That is your money that you have earned. And when you give it to me, I'm going to be a good steward of that money. And I'm going to give you exactly what it is that you need within those means. Right. So again, now coming back full circle to finding that clientele and that person, I want the people that walk in and they see what their money has done, the value that it has brought to them. So when I went with you and I was in training with you guys, that's what I learned and that's what I found valuable is I've got to teach you how to look at me as a business owner and see the value that I see in myself, right? And that's where that first phrase that I'm like, well, I'm really good at it. Well, heck yeah, I am. And I have worked hard to be here and I deserve that. So once I found out who this person was, then I was now able to tell marketing. So I wasn't getting any more little pretty things done for me. He knew how to speak my client's language in content writing. And so he's now attracting my person because the previous coach had told me, you need to go where your clients are. So, honey, I'm looking at opening up memberships at golf clubs. I mean, at golf clubs, at golf courses, because I got to go. I'm looking at eating at steakhouses, and yeah, I don't have it. But I was like, well, what do you mean go? So now when I was here and I was taught, no, 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 explain to me what you're looking for, and I will build that person for you, and that person will come to you. That marketing came into full play.
Yeah.
That's when I realized, oh, that's the difference with what I knew before versus what I know now. Now that marketing has pulled that person in, the other aspect of it was, what do y'all do with the people that are coming into your office? You've got to have a strategy and plan in place to now change that into a lead, into a client, into closed. How do you do that? So those SOPs he had me writing about turning on a coffee pot, really great, by the way. It wasn't all of it. And it wasn't enough. And he had not told me the reason behind why I was writing that stuff for me to really sit down and write that stuff. Does that make sense? It was just a homework assignment that I was doing at the time. So the program taught me the reason, because you said you wanted to attract Johnny. All right, you got Johnny. You know, it's that roadrunner and whatever the little thing he used to chase. You catch him, then what? Oh, I don't know. I had a plan. Once I attract Johnny and Johnny's here in my face, this is what we're going to say to Johnny. Hi, we can come to your house tomorrow and take a look at what you have. When we're at his house, hey, Johnny, this is what you need in your house in order for this to, and then, hey, Johnny, this is what we're going to do. I have steps, full circle.
I love that. So I'm going to stop you right there because I want to make sure that we're capturing what you're saying. This, your storytelling encompasses the secrets to how to make it work. And Calandria, we're going to answer questions. So make sure you write them down and hold them tight. And we'll come to you at the end of the program for sure. So hold on to your question. But what you're saying here is that before, without identifying who your true target audience is, who your market segment is, who your personas are, understanding their lifestyle inside and out, you have to know who they are, everything about them. Then you have to tell the folks that you contract and hire to do the marketing and selling work for you, how you want it done, what you need, who you're talking to, and give them the specifics so that they can show up and do the best job that they possibly can based on what you know about your industry and your personas. If you leave it to the contractor to guess, that's not their job. And that's the mistake I believe that small business owners make is I'm paying you to figure this out for me and my business. And then when it doesn't work, they're upset with the contractor and want to fire them.
And you get the pretty, like I said, the first one that was marketing for me, honestly, if you go on my page and you look to 2019, 2020, they were beautiful pictures. And if you don't know that those pictures are just staying right there on that page, they're not going anywhere because they mean absolutely nothing. Then you're happy with the results because you're thinking everybody said, oh, your page looks so nice. Oh, I saw the pictures. They're just staying on that page. But when you get the right person that is marketing, they speak that language and they're now on that internet speaking that language to all different avenues. And that's when you really start to see, because y'all, the whole secret to this thing I have discovered is marketing. But marketing is not it. You got to know what you are having marketed on your behalf. You've got to know what your dollar, how much money do you want to make? How much do you want to make? Well, I'll tell you what, a person that's making $10,000 a month is not going to feed my $1 million dream. It's not. It's rude. No, no, no. It's not. However, a person that's making $100,000 to $500,000 will feed my dream. Okay, so sir, I need to talk to you. Ma'am, I need to talk to you. But how do I talk to you when my education level is only at high school? Well, I can. Somebody knows how. This is it. I tell you what that dream is. This is what I want. This is how I'm going to do it. You go speak to the person that has the master's, because I don't have the master's language. Hell, I couldn't say ungrateful. Remember, y'all? I don't have it, but you do. So you go. I cannot get you to go until I tell you, because you're going to stay right here at high school with me and not elevate me unless I dream big. I understand what it is that I want. And man, I push you and drive you. So in that demographic, it's not as simple as let's just sit. I studied the hell out of that thing. You ask me a zip code in Texas, I can tell you how much money they're making that zip code. I can tell you the percent of people that are Black, that are white, that are Asian. I can tell you their house values, how much they pay for those houses. I can tell you their education. Are they a vet? I can tell you all of those things. Don't AI nothing. Don't AI nothing. Look at all of those things, because as you are looking and you are studying, you're going to discover a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. And it's only for you to be able to talk to your marketing person.
I love that. So let's talk now about the operational discoveries and the situation. So you deliver a service, you have a team of people who work with you to do your renovations and your construction and so forth. And in the program, you really started to see what business you were truly in. And you also looked at, if I'm going to be able to grow, I have to build my foundational capacity to be able to serve more customers, because it's one thing for the marketing team to do their job and do it well and bring the customers in and create the leads. But on the back end, if you can't answer the phone, if you can't answer their emails, if you only have one team and you can do one project for 3 months and you don't have any more to do 2 projects at the same time, you're going to have a problem.
Very true. Very true. And that is a big part of the whole entire planning. That is the big part of the business plan, right? Because it was a roadmap.
Mhm.
I start with my persona. I understand my persona. I go to my marketing. I understand my marketing. I go to my SOPs. I understand my SOPs. I go into my hiring. And remember, I told y'all, as an emotional hire, you come in here and you're like, oh, your hair's pretty. Girl, you're hired. Now I get it, because if you're going to be my person that's talking to this class of people, I require this. I need this. Not only that, now I need this to be done by this. And if it's not, we can no longer. Before I'm like, oh, that's okay, but she has a family. She'll get it. I'll just do it in the meantime. No, 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 no. You get to a point where you are honestly running a business and everything is on paper the way it should be, and you don't defer. It's just that simple. And you follow those processes that you wrote down, and then also there's a team build, right? Because you don't want to get ahead of yourself where you think, oh, look at me, see, oh, better than everybody. It's not it. You're still on the grind and you're still working. You know what I said after the program? I hate the position the program gave me because I'm not a designer anymore. I'm a pencil pusher. I want to be out there with the pretty paints and everything else, but here I am. I've
Yeah.
got to stay on it. I got to figure out payroll. How is that going to operate? Am I going to be able to do this 3 months from now? What do I need to do to make sure those numbers? What is the bottom line? Okay, marketing. You're only here. I need you to go this way. What do we need to get to go this way? Everything. You're still on top of it. Have you heard the term working, not the business?
Working in the business, not on the business. Yes.
That's what I have become. I am now working in.
On.
Y'all don't listen to me. Listen to Cynthia. I'm now working on the business with all this pencil stuff that I'm doing versus before when I was in it and it limited me.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't go out anywhere else because I'm in it.
Yeah.
And now that I'm outside looking in and I am moving it. I'm making things happen within the business.
So you have hired the right people based on skill, experience versus emotion.
Versus
emotion, and also versus what you thought you could afford.
Versus what I thought I could afford. And that's another one too, because before money was coming in. So let's just use 5,000 for example, right? So I got $5,000. Cynthia, you want a job? You said you want 1,700. I can afford it. Girl, I didn't realize, okay, by the time you pay the rent, by the time you pay the this, by the time that $5,000 is not even the 17. So there I go. Now I can't get any money to me getting paid because I've already spent all of the money. So knowing your numbers was very important because now I know what I can afford. Is it a full-time employee? Is it a part-time employee? How long can you afford this person for? And you plan everything out. Since leaving and graduating, I've now hired on another girl. I'm following that business plan like the Bible.
Good. I love that.
Every decision is intentional. It is well thought out. It is reviewed. It is looked at. And I'm staying on the ball because, again, once you get to a certain status, it's easy to revert because it's comfortable. It's what I know. I do it with my eyes closed. It's okay. Now that I'm doing business the proper way, you wake up in the morning going, okay, A equals to B equals to C equals to D. Ooh, I got to hurry up and switch it because B cannot be done today. It needs to be done and you figure it out. You're working on it versus I just coasted and I was like, glory to God, this is great. You'll do it. But I was not sitting in it and really planning it out. And I think that was the biggest turnaround is planning it.
Yeah. Part of that planning was projections, and that leads to how you were able to identify when is it time to hire, what can I afford, what are my target or sales targets in order for me to get there, and then ensuring that you can cover your operational expenses. So because some of the questions that I hear is that I need to hire right now, but I don't have the income to do it. If I don't, I'm going to burn out because I'm doing it all. And without your ability to project what you're going to do, how you're going to achieve the objectives and the goals and the milestones and so forth, without looking at that on paper, getting it out of your head and on paper, you start guessing, and leads you to bankruptcy, essentially.
Quick. It really does quick. And the example of guessing, right? The project she talked about earlier, that was one of those hard ones for me. So I was a designer and I had just catapulted into doing construction. And with doing construction, thank the Lord, it happened at the time that I was in the program, because honestly, I wouldn't be sitting here with you guys today, right? A lot of things went wrong. A lot of things went wrong. I basically own half of the lady's house because that's how much money I put into it, just trying to fix the things that were going wrong. Okay. The SOPs that we talked about, knowing, planning, and just having everything in place, I didn't have. So one contractor would come and he would do just whatever he did. Then the other one would come in and say, oh, yeah, no, that's not what he was supposed to do. Then to try and get the first contractor to come back, he would complain about blah. There was no accountability. There was nobody to blame. So I ended up having to eat whatever we needed to do to get that second thing fixed. All right, let me go back. Pencil pusher. Let's change that right away. Before you start my job, you have a work order. You sign off on that work order. We walk the work order. You sign off on that work order. Tomorrow, if it doesn't work out right, friend, you own it. That's it. We didn't have that before, right? Then also into doing it, because again, you're in business. So you don't realize there's little bitty small nuances that come in that you had not thought about. Structural. Are you insured? Do you have insurance if something happens to this person's house, whatever business you're running?
Yeah.
It seems minute, but it could take you out. You're talking about my kids not having a house anymore because somebody has come in and sued me on something that probably was not a big deal, but has now turned into something big.
Yeah.
So there were just a lot of other business things, lack of a better word, that I just did not know. So I was fortunate enough that when I was going through it, it's almost as if God said, here you go. I'm going to give you a training on the job thing. So this is what happened. The next class would talk about that. Oh, I was able to correct it. Then this, oh, that's why they want me to do that. I was able to correct it. Um, it's exciting. It's exciting when you know what you know. And even sitting here, I don't know a lot. There's still so much that I have to learn and that I have to keep up with. And a business coach is the best thing that can ever happen to you because one, accountability, two, not everybody you're able to bounce off of business ideas or get the best advice on. When you have a business coach, somebody once told me, how do you think people make it to the NFL? Have you ever seen anybody just teach themselves at home and make it to the NFL? No, everybody had a coach. So same thing, even teaching, everybody has somebody that is there that teaches them how to do things. You just have to be open to listening and implementing what you have learned. Hard word.
Very hard word. So let's talk about implementation. So you enter the program, you're introduced to the mechanics of running a business, management of the business, data, people, processes, workflow, all of those elements. And then you put it on paper. That's one thing. You get it out of your head, you put it on paper. But the next step to this is, how do you implement? And I remember when you called me a couple of weeks ago, a week ago, and you said, I did it, I made it. To which, go back to June, July, we may not have thought it was going to happen as quick as it did. But there's something that you said when you called me, and you said, I did what you told me to do, but I had to manifest. I had to write it out. I had to work the plan. I had to do so many things that sometimes may have seemed overwhelming to get the work done. And that's where I think a lot of people are so surprised when it comes to building multi-million-dollar businesses, is that there's a lot of work to get done. And you have to ask yourself, am I ready to put in that type of work in order to implement what I said I was going to do and hold myself accountable to get it done? And that was a revelation that you had as you were going after the program, right?
It was. I came in knowing I was going to make $1 million, but not a true story because I didn't know how I was going to make $1 million. It's easy. You make $1 million, that's the end, right? And when I came in, business was doing well. I would say I was probably at 350 to maybe 450 a year. And again, it was paying bills and it was doing everything that it needed to do. And so now when I was in the program and I had a checklist, if you will, and I had to follow it verbatim and do it. This is where the pencil pusher came in. It's easy for me to get up and come over here and design the heck out of somebody's house because I got it. So now you're talking about I got to wake up in the morning. Um, the I think it was the second day that we were there. The gentleman chose today's the first day for the rest of my life as a song that he played for us
Mhm.
every morning when I wake up. That is my song in my head. Today's the first day. Then the second thing I tell myself is I am a CEO of a multi-million dollar establishment. Today
Mhm.
I will make money. I'm going to close every deal. Every room I walk in today, I will get it. Period. Period. We're not even talking about anything else. Okay. Then now, how am I going to do that? Hey, office, did you call so and so? Did you guys check in on them? Are we doing this? Are we doing that? Where is this? How is this? Hey, accountant lady, it says in here that we have this amount of money. What happened with this? Where did it go? Why did it go? How do we slow down? What do we cut off? All right, drink a sip of coffee, get in that car, and I'm going. And when I walk in there, that I am affirmation that I gave myself, I walk in with confidence. I have nothing to lose. I'm going to close the deal. I already told you before I left the house, I'm going to close the deal. So my confidence level was boosted. I am not afraid to ask for my money, y'all. I am on it. Why? I deserve it. It is mine. I'm working hard for it. And I showed you the value that that dollar is paying for. So pay up. That it changes. It absolutely changes everything. And I am confident because I know what I'm doing. Before I wavered because I wasn't really, should I, is it the way? I know exactly what I'm doing because I give the deliverables. There's no question. So yes, you become the pencil pusher because you honestly have to plan, execute, prepare on a daily, on every single thing that you're doing. It's a routine that changes daily because, it's moving. But if you don't have a plan, you don't have nothing to follow.
Yeah.
You got to have a plan. And if you don't have knowledge of the plan that you have put together, you really are messed up.
Mhm.
So, in order to make it, you honestly have to follow the plan. And I did. We had days that were designated class days that you would have to sit and see your instructor, get whatever it is that you were getting, and then do your homework.
Mhm.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Nothing has changed because I did it for 3 months. So that time is already allocated. Keeping up with it is difficult because some mornings I wake up and I go, I'll just do it later.
Mhm.
No, ma'am. Sit down and get it done. And so
Mhm.
I get it done. So there was a day that we paid, I think we paid 24,000 out of the office in checks. And I looked at my assistant. I said, we had that kind of money to pay that much money out, And then the next thing when I looked at my statements and I was like, I did this. Oh my God. Oh my God, I made it. And this is even before the end of December. This stuff works. It works. Yeah, so I'm uber excited, uber grateful. And if I were to tell anybody out there, first step is knowing what you're going after.
I
Be
love
very clear about that. Like I should be able to walk up to you and you tell me, oh no, she wears a pink dress with blue shoes and purple earrings and her hair is, to the side. You need to tell me exactly who that person is because then you attract that person because you know who they are. So when you walk in a room, you look for that person because you know who that person is. But
very
you better know what to do with them once you catch them.
and that spoke to, so there were three things that I recall that were very key uh changes that you made in your business. The first one, you raised your price. You realized your value. You raised your price. You really thought about, can I do this? Should I do this? Will this make them walk away? But you raised your price. That made a difference, that it helped you increase revenue. The second is you trained your team on managing the lead to conversion process like a machine, like a machine. And if you put the people in place and the systems to make sure that that was flowing in and it was checked when it was supposed to be checked, and there was no lag time between responding to a lead and getting them into the process. So systems and then lead to conversion was managed from beginning to end.
Mm-hmm.
And then the third, I would say, is, as you mentioned, you enhanced, improved your marketing to
Mhm.
target the technical aspect of marketing. And if that's not your wheelhouse, that's not your strength, find the best resources you possibly can to execute the strategy you've laid out.
And they cannot execute, I don't care how best that resource is, until you know who that person is. You have got to know who that person is. It came full cycle. The way you described it is exactly the way that it is. But there is work to be done by you, because only you know what it is that you're looking for.
Yeah, very good. And that comes from you uniquely understanding your value, what solution you're bringing to
Mhm.
problem that exists, or solution to the opportunity that exists, one or the other, and how you're going to go after the clients that need what you have to offer and are willing and able to buy, and making sure that your strategy, your business model aligns with that to get it.
Mhm.
And so anything else that you would like to share with the folks who are on? And if you have questions, raise your hand and I'll open it up for questions. But is there anything else that you did post graduation that helped you to reach this goal? Was it that your leads were just coming in because of your output, your efforts? Was it that people were talking about you more? Were you displaying your work so that other people could see it? Tell me more about how the leads in the business started to flow.
It really had to do with a content writer, and that I cannot discredit him at all. And again, had I not known exactly what I wanted out of him, he wouldn't be performing at the high rate that he is. So once he also realized that I knew what I was talking about, he offers to do more. He offers to do more because he realizes that this is where we're at, but this woman is ready for more. Right? Like now he has us on 100 platforms. I didn't even know some of these websites exist, but he was able to find them because now, hey, I need to get, I don't care how you get it done, but I've got to have 20 leads come in my office from you. Out of those 20, 10 of them better be somebody we can reach. Hey, when those 10 come in, I need you to call all 10 and you better give me in at least 8 of those houses. Hey, when we get to those 8 houses, we need to close 7 of them. How do we do it? All right, let's talk about sales. So, what I would say to anybody that's out there, listen, when we all started, especially if we don't have a business background, we only know what we have seen of other people, but nobody has ever given us the key to what it is that's making that thing move. And the key to what's making that thing move is you knowing your worth, you knowing your persona, and hiring the right people to execute your plan. I failed. I cried. I've done it all. I've honey, went 3 months without paying the mortgage to try and maintain and keep this thing. Um, but you've already worked on there. Work harder on the things that matter because we all can do it, but it's hard work. I'm still at the stage where sleep is not there yet because I'm so thirsty, right? And I remember going into this because I was going to have a lot more time with my kids and I was going to be my own boss and I was going to take off. But there's still work. There's still work. And the more processes and things that you put into place, it starts to run on its own without you. I took a 10-day vacation and I didn't know where my phone was. I was on a cruise. They couldn't reach me. And I came home to money. Why? They just followed what was on the piece of paper, what the plan was. So to get there, you're going to have to work and get it to where it's at. Then you can't take the back seat to, well, I got it working. No, it worked for this year.
Mhm.
Step it up. What's up next year? What more can you do? You know, is it the increase, like you said, in the money? Is it getting more people working for you so that you can spread? If that person is coming in and they're not making you money, honey, they're the wrong person. You got to let them go.
Yeah.
I have.
I appreciate that. That is excellent advice that worked for you. And so I'd open it up to questions. If you'll raise your hand, I don't know if Calandra is still on here, But if you have questions for Melody or for myself, please feel free to raise your hand, and here I will let you participate. Fact Supporting Life, I don't know your first name, but you may ask your question. You have to unmute yourself. All right, unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
Oh, there you go. That's better.
Mhm.
Hi. My name is Ingrid. Actually, thank you so much for this because I can relate to it so much. I truly appreciate you, Melody. You're truly a blessing to me because I, as a South African based in New Mexico, I'm studying. I started a business last year, and then I kind of got stuck off because I didn't have money, and I tried something else. So yeah, my questions are a little bit more. So I hope you have time. So um, first and foremost is how much did you initially invest in your company?
You're gonna die when I tell you. $500.
Wow.
$500 is what I had. So I will tell you that God is good, because when I started, He gave me a friend who was a bookkeeper that said, I got you. He gave me a friend who was a web designer who said, I got you. And then He gave me two best friends that walked alongside me and looked at the website all day long, you know? So yeah, I started with 500. So every single penny that has gone into this business has been me. And that's why I'm saying that it can be done. It's just so hard. This year, this is my fifth closing, sixth this January year in business. And this is the first time I've ever borrowed money. I even told Cynthia, I said, girl, I signed to the devil. The first time I've ever even borrowed money, because I was so afraid that if it doesn't work out and I've borrowed this money, what's going to
Yeah.
happen to my family?
Mm.
So now, after I have gone through the program, I understand that it's the way I use the money that I have borrowed that is a benefit to me. So it's not a taboo or a bad thing, but you've got to have a plan when you get that money in order for that money to work for you. If you go and you get the money and now you have the money, you're like, oh yeah, now I'm going to go get an office. Oh yeah, now I'm going to get this. It's not going to work.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So thank goodness you just answered the other question that I had as into how long it took. So you said about 5 years you've been doing this.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
It took 5 years. You know, they tell you your first year, if you make it in business, woohoo, it takes up
Yes.
to 5 years for you to still be operating, for you to actually kind of a little bit, but there's still no sizable profit, right? Because I'm in the million range now. Ooh, look at me. And I said to the accountant, but I don't see it. I'm still driving a truck that breaks down on the road. When am I going to see the money? But the business is growing. We are branded. We're known out there. People are waiting months for us to come and see them. So it's all stages, and you've got to be patient with yourself through those stages. And every milestone, man, toast a glass of wine. It's a great day. It's a great day.
Okay. Yeah. No. Lastly, is how do you seek the networks and the business coach that you guys were emphasizing on?
The business coach, for me, now that I know what I know, if that person is not telling you things that scare you, meaning raise the prices, meaning you need to do A, B, C, D. I can't coach you until you have your SOPs together. What is a SOP? Standard operating procedure. And
I look
then they teach you how to do that, then that's okay. Because like I said, the first one that I had, he told me to do it, but I had no idea what I was doing it for. So I wasn't writing the correct SOPs. Like I could tell you how to make coffee, honey, and I could tell you how to unlock the door, but he didn't tell me the things that mattered. So I wish I knew an answer to be like, well, this person is this. I just now know that that person has to be business oriented, and they've got to scare you. They've got to scare you because they're dreaming bigger for you than you're dreaming for yourself.
Okay. Okay. But how do you find that person? You had to Google them. That's what you did for yourself?
Well,
I'll
am I
answer that
allowed,
for you. So
Okay.
what you want to do is check with your networks. You want to talk to people that you may be following that, or some who may mention that they are working with a business advisor or a consultant. Some are known as consultants, some are known as advisors, some are known as coaches. Ask people who are they working with, and then host interviews to see and ask them questions that are related to moving the needle in the business. You're going to, just like in accounting and just like attorney or contractor building a home, you're going to find some duds or you're going to find some really fantastic ones. But usually the best resource is the people who are in business.
Okay. Just finding a network to be in. So I'm gonna have that question. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, ladies. Appreciate you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Feel free to raise your hand. We have 2 minutes. If not, I want to say thank you so much for being here, Melody, and also for being willing to share your journey and how you took the information, you actually implemented it in real time. You stuck with it after graduation because many people quit and they go back and they fall back to old habits because it's easier. But you pushed yourself and then you work to ensure that you're showing up in front of your customers and then delivered. And it has paid off and shown through the revenue that your company is now generating in order for you to infuse or reinvest in back into the business to continue to grow.
Mm-hmm.
What's next for Design on a Dime Interiors in 60 seconds?
Franchise. We're going to be all over the place. Everybody's going to know us from state to state. I'm coming to New Mexico. No, I'm just joking. Yeah, no, franchise, but there's still a long ways to go. Right now, we're concentrating on just hiring more teams.
Okay, hiring more teams so that you can deliver more service.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you all for being here. I hope this was beneficial. If you ever have any questions, visit integralityllc.com. You can schedule time for a discovery call and get help with your business. You can visit Start.Pivot.Grow.com for accelerators as well. And follow us on Start Pivot Grow on all of the social media channels, as well as me, Cynthia Nevels. And also be sure to visit DesignOnADimeInteriors.com. Is that right, Melody?
That's correct. Yes. And I'd love the follows, you guys. It would mean a lot to me. Thank you.